Hello, everyone. How are you? How is everything going? I am so excited. I am really pumped up about this episode. Welcome to Limitless Living with Gunjani Patel. And today we have a very special guest on our first podcast. And I'm really excited to talk about all things love. So, if this is your first time here, feel free to subscribe so you always get a notification. I'm going to give you lots and lots of fun stuff to ponder upon, some amazing techniques that Himani has herself has used, and all the things that I have applied in my own life and helped thousands of my clients. So I'm super excited that you're here today. Thank you so much for joining us. And Himani, welcome, welcome, welcome for being here and joining me on my very first Limitless Living episode and podcast. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
thank you for having me. I'm super
Yeah,
excited to talk all things love and
right?
manifestation.
Yes, I cannot wait. So, for some of you who are new to my world, hi, I'm Gunjani Patel. I've been a licensed mental health therapist for almost 2 decades, 17 years, and I'm also a manifestation and a mindset coach. And I have truly had an amazing experience manifesting so many beautiful things in my life and truly expanding myself to this year. My word happens to be limitless. So we're launching this podcast and it's called Limitless Living. And I have just loved and enjoyed throughout my whole journey of serving people, from just specializing in transformation and seeing people just grow and flourish and unleash their potential has been truly, truly, truly so fulfilling. So I do everything as much as I can to continue to grow and to continue to serve and to continue to make my clients' lives better, because my biggest mission is that how can I serve and help people grow to their best versions in the safest, in the shortest, in the fastest ways possible. That is always my quest. And that is a lot of what we're going to talk about, because love has not been something that has been easy in my own life. And through all my challenges, and then later learning that it was not supposed to be me trying to do it all on my own. I hired people to help me with it and help me collapse time. And that's exactly what Himani did, hired me to
Yep.
to collapse time. So we're going to talk about all things love and how that went for her. And in this process, I hope that you get a lot of value. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I always come back and check these comments, and I really want to hear where you're at on your journey and how can I support you with future episodes, with other guests. What are your current struggles? What would you like to hear more of? All things in the comments. So thank you so much for watching and thank you for being here. So Himani, tell
Yes.
me, what was your experience when we first met? Where were you at with your love life?
I was attracting men that were doing the bare minimum and I was accepting it. I was
Mm.
um
Ooh, you must have
chasing
learned
them.
that word.
Yes, I was chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was me being in my masculine and
Mhm.
not in my feminine. Uh,
Ooh.
which I've learned with you is, I don't chase, I attract.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes,
and
that.
that's what
But
I've
tell
been
me what
doing.
that looked like for you, because even like when I was chasing, I'll share my story in a second, but I want to hear what that looked like, because it's now you're on the other side, so you're like, oh, chasing, but at the time you didn't know that's what you were doing. So I want to hear your story about what that looked like for you.
It looked like it was people pleasing, right?
Mm,
It was the guy would say, "Okay, I need this, I need that." Okay, okay. When do you need it by? Or I was doing everything I can to impress that person. Letting go of my time, not prioritizing myself, rescheduling my stuff, putting
mm,
myself on the back burner and putting them on a pedestal.
this
And
is big.
that just was not working because every time it was always if they left, it was my worth that I was questioning. What did I do
Mm,
wrong? It was just a bad recovery time, almost months. And it's like that other person would move on like that. And I'm like, what is wrong with me?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
Oh, that
and
is
I
big.
kept
Thank you for
attracting
sharing
that.
that.
I kept attracting that. I've noticed, from ex relationships, ex-husband, like I've noticed those patterns now that
Yeah.
that's what I was attracting. So
100%. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for being so vulnerable and sharing that
yeah.
and sharing your journey. Because that was also sort of my experience as well, where I kept attracting men. I guess in the Western world, we go by attachment styles, and in the Eastern world, we go with, or ancient wisdom, we go with, yin energy and yang energy. Yang energy is very masculine. Yin energy is very feminine, and we all need embodiment of equally both. Otherwise, when excess yin or feminine embodiment is happening, a lot of what you just mentioned happens. And then you're also leading, like when there's yang also imbalanced, then also we're just always chasing, right? So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I really like the fact that you mentioned that, even I grew up in a household where we didn't talk about mental health, or we didn't talk about emotional health, and I just did what I was told or I
Be
saw around
strong.
me. Be strong, be strong. But I think, like, after my divorce, and as I was going through my own therapy journey, and through, like, when I was going through my own therapy, after my divorce, one of the things that I too was doing was I was attracting and chasing and wanting and needing men, where I put myself in the back burner, and my entire world became about them or around them. And or I was just not in a relationship at all, or, not wanting to be in a relationship. So I was like either avoiding relationships, or I was really just going after it and then couldn't get out of it. So that was a huge life lesson, because I was like, wow, if I keep attracting the same men, we keep attracting the same people over and over with different last names. But if we don't, look at some of these patterns, because I truly am a big believer of any people, any situations, any opportunities or crisis, it only 10x's our emotional patterns that we are used to. So can you tell me, but I know that I'm going to go a little deeper in this, okay? So can you, when you say people pleasing, because not everybody's aware of what people pleasing is, like there are 4 stress or trauma responses. There's fight, flight, people pleasing, fawn, or freeze. Anytime we are in stress, or anytime based on our attachment styles, we are triggered, right? Or we show up in relationships. So you said people pleasing, and that was also my experience, where I was also a people pleaser, very anxious, very, I don't care, I need love, I need external validation, I need all the things. Like, no matter, like, my ex-husband almost used to tell me that no matter how much love I give you, it's never enough, because I didn't know what loving myself was at that time. Now, like 2 decades later, with all this hurt and excruciating pain and healing and all the things. But tell me what that looked like for you, when people pleasing looked like for you. I know you kind of mentioned that you put yourself in the back burner, and your self-worth was attached to the person you were with. But what did it look like in relationships after you broke up, and the signs you didn't see?
It was me going after them, trying to save the relationship, sending the paragraphs of, oh my God, what can we do to fix this? What can I do to fix this? Like, I promise, like, if even if it means, okay, you want to go see other people, cool, but let's still look at me, still talk to me, keep me in your life. It was just that anxious attachment, right? I think working with you, I've realized that that was my pattern. It was an anxious attachment. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was chasing that validation of, oh, you're beautiful, you're pretty, like, keep telling me these things. It's okay if you don't want to be in my life, but let's just still be friends. Or there was always some way I was trying to keep them in my life.
Same.
Whether it was social media stalking, or, just sending random DMs like, oh, this made me think of you. Oh my gosh. It was bad.
Same. The back when I was dating, I guess a decade ago, Instagram wasn't so big, but it was very similar. And then my friends would get married, they would have children, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm the only one. So I would be more triggered and more attached and wanting more of that. It was almost like, now that I look back, it was almost addiction to emotional suffering.
Yep. That's exactly it. Right there. You hit it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Like, I truly believe that in this human experience, pain is inevitable. We all experience some level of pain at any given point in our lives, right? We experience
Yes.
pain. But all this affective neuroscience and research on emotions tell us that no emotion is meant to be felt for more than 1 second, depending on the researcher you speak with, to 90 seconds. So it's like our emotions are our teachers. They're alert system. They're trying to tell us that your hand is on the stove, take your hand off, otherwise you're going to get burned. That's the lesson and the learning in it. So we don't do it again. But if I think sometimes what happens in the anxious attachment styles, and if we don't heal it, is that we continue to leave the hand on the stove and expect to not get burned, or we love this. We don't know the skills and the tools to work through how to have self-worthiness, how to develop self-confidence, how to forgive ourselves, how to release all this anger, all this lack, all this shame, all this insecurity. And thus, we just unfortunately leave the hand on the stove and expect not to get burned over and over, and one differently,
I think a lot
so
of it has to do with what we're exposed to as well.
yeah.
The Indian movies, Bollywood movies, you
Oh
see the
gosh.
girls going after the guys like with big, gestures like, oh my God, if I do this, maybe he'll think about me, or maybe, it was very toxic. I admit it, I was very toxic. And it took a lot to get to that point.
100%. And I thank you for mentioning that, because it's like nature versus nurture, like genetically we're predisposed to anxiety, depression, trauma. 47%, 40% is the perception of our events, and that perception comes from nurture, from either being modeled healthy or unhealthy relationships in our own parenting, in our own households, in our own extended families. And then there's this environmental factor of this Bollywood. I look at Bollywood movies now, and my lens and filter are so different.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
oh
so
my
different.
God, they foster codependency up to that. Like, I'm like, oh, this is like almost so horrible, when that the way the girls chase after the
Yeah,
men,
the validation. Yeah.
just wow. I'm like this, and I forgive my younger self for that I was like, oh my gosh, all these Shah Rukh Khan movies, being a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan, I think it ruined it
Me
for
too,
me,
me
because I'm like,
too.
I ended up turning into a codependent and not even realizing, because that's not real life. And oh yes.
I used to catch myself saying that on the dating apps, like, man, I need my Bollywood love story. I need my Bollywood this, my Bollywood happy ever after, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah.
not, it's not there. That's not
100%.
reality.
It is not real. It is not something that is healthy, because it's one thing to attract a relationship. It's another to actually keep the relationship and have a healthy, sustainable marriage or a long-term relationship, whatever suits your cup.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to actually just need and have that kind of craving, passionate, toxic love that is not healthy. Yeah. So tell me, when the time that we met, and what made you go, okay, what made you get aware that this was not healthy?
I think I had one last heartbreak, and then I was like, okay, this is something needs to change. I can't be hurting like this all the time.
Yeah.
I think I was there for a work trip, and I came over and we were
Yeah.
discussing it, and then it just clicked that, like,
Yeah.
okay, I think I finally accepted that I was the one in the wrong. Not in the wrong per se, but the one that was chasing, and I shouldn't be doing that, and it's my worth. I think I finally realized that I do deserve what I desire,
Yeah.
and you were there and you were like, let's do it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it just started one after another. I remember we were just sitting in your living room and we're like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and we were
That
ready to
actually
go.
launched I did another program called Date Yourself Academy Relationship Mastery. It is a part of my bigger Limitless Abundance life coaching program, because I truly believe that we need life skills that I have learned, like as a couples therapist, as a relationship coach over the years. I really feel that when we, like, it's like we go to 10, 15 years worth of school plus, like
Hmm.
15 years if you're like 16 years if you've done, basic schooling, but then all this grad school, all this stuff, right? Like 20 years worth of schooling. And then we go find our careers, right? Like the normal path. In the manifesting world, we don't do that, but that's what we normally do, right? And then we go find a job. We are learning skills. We are learning,
Hmm.
abilities that we didn't have before, that help us perform and do a certain task. Well, I don't understand why in relationships we don't do that. It's like when a girl marries a boy, is she taught that you're going to need skills to manage your nervous system? You're going to need emotional mastery skills. You're going to need skills to actually, do conflict resolution. Like there's so much that goes into
We're not
couples
taught that. Nope.
therapy that people don't realize that those are actually life skills that actually can be learned, and you can show up to marriages. Unfortunately, we just go into the marriage and it's like blind leading the blind, figure it out. Or
We figure
in
it out. Yeah.
relationships, most of the time that I've seen, it's like relationship goes through 3 different phases. A honeymoon phase, but in that phase, we're just lit like a kite and we don't even see it, anything. We just see all the amazing and rosy. And then when we start getting towards a little bit of a connection, from anywhere from 2 months to, let's say, 20 years, we go through a conflict phase. And that phase is when most marriages or most long-term relationships end up in divorce or separation, because people don't have life skills to handle. Because when we jump into the relationship, there's like my baggage that I came with in the relationship, his baggage that he came into the relationship with, if it's a heterosexual relationship, and then there is our baggage that is forming as we go, and we don't have the skills to resolve that or repair that. So we take this fight into the next fight, and most people don't repair in the conflict phase. So this fight goes into all the way heightened, I'm done with you. And then people live under the delusion, because I did too. So it's not about shaming. It's about, I went into my next relationship after my marriage hoping things would be different, but I took me with me. I took my self-limiting beliefs. I took my thoughts. I took my emotional patterns. And of course, I attracted the same guy, because life like attracts like. So these are skills to awareness, to realize that, hey, you know what? I need to sit back, take a break, and figure out where I'm at and learn from this experience that just didn't work. And then jump into the next relationship, which is the part that you were talking about. Because then if we make it to the second part of the relationship, the conflict phase, then the relationship is like secure, accepting, loving, healthy phase. And it's not like, oh, it's secure doesn't mean that, oh,
everything's
yes,
perfect.
it'll be, everything is perfect, rosy, amazing, we never have fights. That is also unhealthy, actually, because that's a self-limiting belief. How else are you supposed to grow if you don't have disagreements? But it can be done without projecting on your partner. It can be done without it being unhealthy. It can be done by having conversation. There are all these relationship skills that go into keeping very intimate, connected relationships. Because most marriages that I've seen, almost 85% of marriages, after like the first marriages, 50% of first marriages end up in divorce. 60% of second marriages end up in divorce. 70% of third marriages end up in divorce, because we take we with us, and nothing changes. So when you and I met, you were in this phase of, I really want him. And I'm like, okay, Himani, we're going to do a major intervention here. And I'm not available, you being my friend and you being, my people, for you to go through this. And I think that was like the launch of Date Yourself Academy, where I'm like, I think people really need relationship skills and coaching in order to get through it, because that was when you were in the depth of, I really want him, I can't let him go, I keep thinking about him. And where there's a whole bunch of work that we did in the beginning. Like, what did that self-awareness look like for you when we first started Date Yourself? Where were you? You're like, that's so long ago, I don't even remember that version of me. Let me just pull back on my file.
Yeah, it was a bad version of me. It was
cancel. No bad version. It's this unhealed version of you.
Unhealed. There you go. I think it was, yeah, I truly can't even remember. I'm
more than happy to jog your memory.
Yes, go ahead. I think it was just low self-worth.
What did that look like? It sounds great right now, like from the Instagram social media perspective, but what does low self-worth actually mean for people who may not know?
I just didn't look at myself in the mirror and think that I deserved better than him at that point. Yeah. It was okay. It was him or no one else. Yes. And oh my God, that's the perfect one. I'm letting it go. What did I do wrong? It was constantly on loop in my head.
Yeah.
Um, so that was like I said, I attached my worth to him. It was, oh, if he's in my life will be better. If he's
Mhm.
not, my life is not worth it. That's it. And that's
And
where I
mind
was.
you, for everybody that is watching, I think I need to give the other side of the perspective too. Because the guy itself, not calling her, just said, I'm done with this relationship. And it literally like just pulled the rug underneath her feet. And she was distraught at the time and just was like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop thinking about my life with him. I can't, like, I would get texts. So I hope that is okay for me
No,
to
yeah, go
just
for it.
mention, because since you have just clicked update and reset, and now you're like, what
Yes.
version of me? You were like, you literally felt as if, like, when was he going to call? What can I do? What can I do to attract him back? When can I do to bring him back in my life? What did I not do right? Maybe I should manifest him again.
Because it led up
You remember
to,
that?
it was everything he did, it was right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he said was right. There was the love bombing 101, that now I
Mm-hmm.
recognize
Tell
thanks
us
to
more about
you.
what that looks like in the honeymoon
Um,
phase, so that I know that my women or men who are watching this can just be wary of what that looks like and what it should look like in the bigger picture.
it looks like promises of the future, right?
Yeah.
It looks like, oh my God, I've never felt this connection before. Like my soul's been craving this. And they say the right things. They talk about futures, planning the future. Second date, third date, you're going to his house. Like I went to his house on my third date. Like we
Yeah.
stayed the weekend. Everything was leading to the right point. And then it was when I asked for commitment, exclusivity, it was, okay, bye. I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this. To me, that was where I was like, oh, what happened? Because I didn't see anything that went wrong.
And how
Nothing went
long did
wrong.
this happen for? How long did this happen for? Till I believe 3 or 4 months, or what was
Two,
it?
two and a half, two
Yeah.
and a half, 3 months. It was
Yeah.
like right at almost at the 3 month mark that I
Yeah.
was like, okay, hey, so I'm off the apps. Are you off the apps? It was just a question. It was,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't saying let's, take our relationship to the next level. It was I was asking for exclusivity. Like at this point, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's get
Mm-hmm.
off the apps and start getting to know each other.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And it was, okay, I can't do that. I'm overwhelmed. This is not working for me. Okay. And that's where I went into that spiral because I was like,
Yeah.
am I not worth the commitment? Like, it was a perfect last couple, like, 3, 4 dates. It was perfect. Like, what went wrong?
Yes, yes. Thank
And
you for
that's where
sharing
that,
that, because that's a very raw, vulnerable thing to share. And thank you for doing that. Because yeah, that's exactly when I met you in that space in your
yep.
life. And I was like, Himani. And one of the things that I taught her, or maybe you can mention, what did you learn about attachment styles in that place?
Um, I, I I learned that, for me, that was my anxious attachment style. And then I
Mhm.
learned that his was an avoidant attachment style.
Which is yang.
Um,
Very yang is very avoidant. I
yeah.
feel overwhelmed. I avoid everything, any emotions that get very heavy, or any emotions at all. Yin energy access or anxious attachment is very, oh, I want more. I'm leaning in. I'm emotional. I'm open. I'm vulnerable, but I'm afraid to say because I'll do anything, whatever you want. Uh, and yeah, go
And
ahead.
that's when I stepped into my masculine, is when he was running. I
Yeah,
started that
chasing.
chasing,
Yeah,
sending the long paragraphs. I sent him, flowers, like apologies, this and
yeah,
that. Like, what can I do to get back
yeah,
to this?
yeah.
And be like, okay, one last conversation. Let's have a closure conversation, this and that. There's no such thing. You have to accept it, you have to forgive yourself, and you have to move on. And
Look at that girl.
you taught me this.
I saw this for you even when you were going through it. So it's like my proud teacher moment where
Yes.
truly are embodying living that, because this is
Yes.
100% who you were not. And I'm just
Yes.
so feeling filled with pride that this is who you've become. And now we'll talk about fast forward, because
Yes.
on, and the crunchy part was, I don't want to frame like, yeah, now you taught me this, so there were a lot of crunches that you went through. There were a lot of
Yes.
time, like we did a whole bunch of things, because one of the things that I have learned, and I, for those of you who are watching, I want you to sort of remember or know, anytime we step into a relationship, the idea of a relationship is to become more secure version of ourselves. No matter which relationship you're in, no matter whether you're already in a relationship, the idea is to keep becoming more secure version of us. But if we don't do the inner work, we keep bumping up against the edges of the work that we haven't done. And thus, the more anxious you are, the more you have abandonment issues, the more you compare yourself to everybody else, the more your validation or self-worth comes from the outside. What will people think? What will people say? What do people want for me? Or I want everything from the other person, and no matter how much they give me, I don't give it to myself. So I don't care. I want it from the outside. I have so much love to give. Let me go out there and save you. That's
Yep.
called anxious attachment. I used to attract projects. I loved
Me
attracting
too.
projects and
Me too.
saving them, saving them. That was my thing. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, it is not my job to fix you. It is your job to fix you. Red flag, bye.
Yep.
That took a long time to get there, but it took all this self-worth work. It took all this yang energy and stepping up into my yang and really embodying this. Yes, you know what? There's an emotionality, there's a loving, gentle part of me, and you only have access to that if you can respect it. But I had to respect myself first. I had to love myself
You have
first.
to
I
accept
had to
yourself first,
that. So
as you
that
are.
is the whole bunch of work that we did, because we did cord cutting, we did Ho'oponopono, we did a whole bunch of healing. Because I still remember in those places, like even after we started Date Yourself, I think we started Date Yourself Academy in April.
April.
And
Yeah. It was my birthday month when we kicked it off. I remember
yes,
that.
yes. And you just kept showing up weekly, kept doing the work, kept listening to my advice and learning these skills and this very important life skills. I truly also believe that there is no such thing as completely healed, because like I said,
Nope.
our
You're always
relationships
healing.
gives us an opportunity. Like even in my 10 years of marriage, we've been through nine years of marriage. We've been through literally all the phases, and we're finally now in a secure phase. But even when we were going through dating phase, I almost broke up with my husband on email. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah,
But hey, cancel. I love
cancel,
that part of me.
cancel. We forgive.
And he was like, what is this? So secure men, they make your nervous system feel safe. And to me, because my nervous system was used to so much hypervigilance and chasing and wanting and this emotional addiction, my husband felt very boring to me. I'm like, oh my God, he's so boring. But that's what my nervous system needed. If he was not boring, we would not be here. We would both be chasing other people and doing other things, you know? But pick someone that chooses you. Pick
And
someone.
you say that, and it's funny because that's exactly what I'm in right now. Like we'll
Oh,
talk
I
more
say
about
that
that,
because I've
but
lived that and I've taught that to thousands of people.
and I'm
You
in
are just now
exactly
on board.
that.
That. Because and I told you and you couldn't see it, I think, then, because you're like, because that version of you was not ready to see that yet.
I remember going through, the dating apps with Amit, and we were
And
like, there's
yeah,
no
oh
good
my
guys.
God. I used to walk in the room and she would be like going on. I was like, if this is how she's, I was like, the class was on Saturday. If this is how she's looking at men, she's clearly not paying attention, not listening, not doing what I've told her to do. And this is not okay. Like she would literally find, I was like, aligned action. We are attracting love. We're not chasing love. We're not going on apps to find guys. Heal. Learn to date yourself first. I
I
still remember.
remember, yes. I remember I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be on dating apps. I just want to date myself. And you're like, no, enough of that. Get on the apps. You're gonna do this the
Because
right
there's no
way.
such thing as I'm fully secure and I'll
Yep.
find a fully secure, emotionally available man. Like, I mean, there is a whole thing to how you write your, dating app pitches. And it's been such a long time since I've done that. So I almost had to re-jog my memory, where I was like, okay, we're going to teach you how to write your apps and pitch yourself to people so you don't seem desperate. And
Yep.
you find a guy who is desperate for you. not people who don't want anything to do with you, but people who you are attracting that are perfect with your frequency, your alignment. But you had to get to that place first, and that was our journey, because we attract who we are. I still remember one of the calls that we did, and you were in this phase of a little bit of, I'm just dating myself. And I'm like, no, that's called avoidance. That's not, I'm just dating myself. You've dated yourself enough, because I could tell from that place where, so tell me what that dating yourself looked like for you, because that is also important.
At first, I think what it was, trying to enjoying my own company. I was
What
able
did
to
that look
go.
like? You didn't know what that was like.
I didn't, but I did. I ended up going, coffee shops alone, or even to like a lunch alone, or being okay with just sitting there with my own energy, with myself, not being distracted by my phone, or, like, oh my God, this is weird. What are people thinking? I'm sitting here alone. Like, I don't like it. That anxiety of being alone. I finally learned to love my own company. And I right now
Yes.
cherish my time that I get to myself. I cherish it so much. Actually looking for it all the time, reading books, just
Yes.
enjoying things alone. And
Thank
I'm
you.
teaching that to my daughter. So to me, that
And
was
how old is she? I really want
she's
to double click on
7.
this. She's
She's
so
7.
lucky to have you. Oh, I wish I had this level of training then. Like, it is so amazing when we step into our power and we step into that, because loneliness was one of my biggest things that I
Mhm.
had, the humps that I had to get through, because I was like, everybody is with their someone and I'm here alone all the time, and as if it was a bad thing. And then when I started working on myself and really, just all this deep work, inner work, and if it's like, just think about it, right? Like attracts like, from a manifestation and attraction
Yep,
perspective. If you don't like you, how is someone else supposed to like you?
exactly.
Like, when I met Amit, I was having the time of my life. Like, I had bought my own place. I was running a kick-ass group practice in Florida. I was just enjoying my company. I would go out with my girlfriends. I would do all this amazing fun stuff, do all the things. If men came, big deal. Didn't come, no big deal. And literally, like, Amit came when I was 100% not looking. Like,
Hmm.
I was on and off in relationships 10 years, dating myself, going through all the phases that you did, like dating myself, not wanting guys, being in relationships that was ridiculously toxic, wanting to save people, were codependent, all the things. But it really brought up, I really think that people, situations, and crisis bring up parts of us that we need to awaken and witness with love. Because when we don't, we keep seeking that on the outside, and the outside will only reflect to us what we need to
What's on
give
the inside?
100%. And when I started doing that, it was such a big wow, what? And I used to be on Shadi for 10 years, never found a guy.
Let's not talk about
And then I'm
shadi.com.
like, and then I'm like, let me just, go to my EMDR therapist, because something is clear. I'm clearly finding myself attracted to someone who does not want me once again. And I promise myself, I'm like, this time, if I'm on the floor in fetal position, that is a bad sign. I need to pay and go get this taken care of. And I literally did that EMDR session. It was almost like 3 hours worth of deep work, because the whole time I was doing mindset work, and I was like, I know I'm the couples therapist, blah, blah, blah. But all this stuff, all this cords that were still attached, all this deep emotional work that still needed to be cleared from my system, from my nervous system, from my body. And I literally left her session and I just envisioned me, him, because I really wanted to have a child at that time. And I was like, the order is placed to the universe. I have my husband that I'm standing on the windowsill with a beautiful child. And it was like a black and white portrait. And I remember after Avik was born, we took that portrait and it was just like, oh my God, this is what I had visioned. This is what I had seen. And within 10 days, boom, he came into my life, did the exact right things, never ghosted. He's like, hey, because one of my beliefs and affirmations was, choose a guy that chooses you. And I need him to be perseverant, because I know that my
Mhm.
tendencies tended to be avoidant. And if things got hard, I would be like, deuces. And that's not how relationships work, or you can keep the relationship. So I'm like, I need someone who is stable, grounded, chooses me, shows me everything. Because if he can't even do all of that in the beginning, when the
He's not
marriage
gonna
gets
do it.
hard,
Hmm.
he's not going to do it. That's the pattern. So I don't need that. I don't need
Hmm.
flakers. I don't need people who don't want to be in a relationship. I am okay single. I will keep working on myself. That means just more stuff to heal. That means more stuff to look at. And I
Yep.
kept doing that, doing the work. And then he came along and he did the right things. First conversation we had, it was like 4 hours long. He's like, you want to FaceTime tomorrow? I'm like, huh? Are you sure? Most guys wouldn't even 3 months, no FaceTime. Oh, really? Then we had a FaceTime. And then he was like, oh, let's like, I just want to make sure that you are you, because for him too, it was like that, because he had met so many girls that they would say they were somebody and then catfish,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, just wanted to check. So he knew exactly what he wanted. And same with me. Like, I didn't have time to waste. I knew what I wanted. So that clarity was really big. And that is something that I teach in the Life Skills Limitless Abundance too, that you need clarity. If you don't have clarity of who you are attracting or what you want or what qualities you want in them, then you're just wanting people for the wrong reasons. And you're wanting people for convenience. You're wanting people for just because you don't want to be alone. You're wanting people because you want someone to talk to every night.
Yep.
Wrong reasons to want someone.
Exactly. Agreed.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
no, finish your thought.
I forgot my thought now.
All right. So you were saying
Go
that,
ahead.
yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
started enjoying your company. And then I still remember that one call we did in the Date Yourself, where you were like, the kind of guys you were talking about, they don't exist on the dating. This is Himani's quote. The kind of guys you are talking about don't exist. I'm like, this is your attitude. This is your belief. This is who you are showing up as. Our buttons in the manifestation world are our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, and our actions. If your actions are, next, I'll just find the first guy or settle with the first guy that I found. And it's like a car trying to go somewhere, which is a destination that is beautiful, amazing, great, wow. And one feelings part is going, I'm needy, I'm desperate, I'm lonely, I need someone, I'll chase, I'll do everything. The thought is, oh, I want someone who chooses me. I want someone who's secure. I want someone who is, constantly puts in an effort. I want someone who is emotionally available. I want someone who is secure. But then your beliefs are, the kind of guy you were talking about don't exist on dating sites. Exact quote. And I'm like, oh, I went in on that one. So tell me what that looks like.
Oh, that was a
That
call.
was a fun one.
That's a replay that I need to go back and watch. Yeah,
I still remember the
that.
exact date, the time, what you were wearing. I'm like, she actually said that, Amit. She actually said that to me.
I remember. And then after that, it was just massive action taking. I remember you were like, nope, we're gonna download the apps, you're gonna write it up, we're gonna do this. And you eliminated Amit from the picture because he wasn't helping with that.
I'm like, you both need to stop talking. I'm the coach. You don't need to give her relationship advice because it's going against all the things that I'm telling her. No, we are manifesting this man into fruition.
Yeah, I think after that, I got to a point where I wasn't looking. Like you said, I started enjoying my company and I still had the apps and I was talking to people. I remember I wasn't attaching myself. It was like, if he wants to talk, he'll talk. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
How many months did that take? Tell me how many months that took for you. Everybody's journey is different.
We started our course in April.
Yes.
I met the guy I'm with right now in June.
3 months.
3 months.
The time doesn't matter.
Doesn't
who
matter.
You become,
it's your mindset.
What you believe, your mindset, your emotional vibration, 100% matters, is what you're going to attract.
Yep. It was right before I planned my solo trip too. Yeah. So I was like, I don't need to talk to nobody right now. I'm going on this trip.
And everybody used to tell me that. Everybody used to tell me that. Like, you'll find the one when you're least looking. And that used to really trigger me. Now I'm like, oh, like, it was just the trigger. So the emotional patterns were, it's easy for you to say, it's very frustrating, it's very annoying. Well, in the manifestation world, we're living as if it's already done. Like, I'm secure.
You let go, when you release
detach, law of detachment, which most people don't practice either. So it's like, I used to be like, I promise universe, I'm not looking, but is he there yet? oh, my friends are getting this and I am around people and I'm lonely, I don't release it. Like I do EFT and a lot of other tools that I teach my clients. I don't release it, but I keep it in my system. And then from that place, I expect that, oh, I need someone to talk to when I come home. I get lonely. You have to clear and release the data from your body.
Yeah, that's true.
And tell me how you
The
met your current person. So
on
this
the
is
apps. On the app that I wanted to delete, it was it was not the someone that I would usually go for. And I was like, you know what?
I mean, it's
Let
not
me,
someone I would usually go for either. But the
yeah.
ones I went for just said
So,
deuces and went.
exactly. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this the Gunjani way.
Yes, you
Um,
are.
and so I went there, we started a conversation. It was very, there was no love bombing, there was no, he wasn't like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. What I was used to. None of that was there. It was a regular conversation. I was like, this is boring. And I remember talking to you about it. And I was like, dude, I don't know about this. And you're like, just give it a chance, get to know
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
And a month went by. I went to London on my trip. He talked to me over there even even with the time difference. It was a 6 hour, 7, 8 hour time difference. Still made time to
Choose a
talk to
guy that
me.
chooses you.
He
The
did. And I was talking to others
right
at
guys
that
make
time.
time, they make effort. You don't have to chase. The right
Yeah.
people
And
do all the things.
I remember I was talking to another person at the same time as well. So it was between two. And
Mm-hmm.
no, as soon as I went to London, this other guy just disappeared off the map because, there was no talking every day, there was no FaceTime, things like that. Because I was in another country. And this one stayed. This one, we talked throughout the day when he woke up, when I woke up, things like that. And then I came back from London, and 2 weeks later, he was here to let's go on a first date.
That's how we were. We literally were on a first date in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks,
So,
because I was like, I need to see. Like, I had a really good feeling about it, but I was like, I'm going to hold my horses and actually go through the whole season of 1 year of being with someone as opposed to, okay, let's get married. I didn't want to do that. And I promised myself, like, this time I'm not going to get divorced. This time I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to make sure I do it with the right person who is right for me. This time I'm going to recognize the red flags early on and I'm not going to mess around at this point.
and this is coming from someone, me, who used to be the one going to the first dates. Like, okay, we can meet in the middle. Okay, I can come to you if that's easier. No, I said
Make him work for it.
you either come here or we don't do this. And I put that
100%.
out there, and he booked his tickets and he was here.
See, you mentioned a really important point that most women don't do. We, in the anxious attachment system, we don't know how to set boundaries. The yin energy systems, we're like, if we ask, he'll leave. So what? Next,
Next. And
right?
that's the point I got to. Yeah.
You have to be able to state your needs, stand in your power, and speak your truth. Your person is not a mind reader. And if they don't do what they say they will do, next.
You have to
Because
hold them
what you
accountable.
allow, what you allow keeps happening in the relationship. What you allow just allows itself in the relationship.
And the
So
one that's meant for you will respect those boundaries.
100%. I did the same thing. Like I had all kinds of
And
things that I needed and I wasted. I was so afraid to waste my needs in my prior situation because I'm like, oh, they'll leave. Or because I didn't have good self-worth. I didn't think that highly of myself. I wasn't that confident. I didn't feel like if I said it, then, oh, no, I'm not trying to accommodate anyone. I date myself. I love myself. And here we are. If they're not met, then we talk about it. And you should be able to have those hard conversations because again, avoidance hate like having hard conversations, and so do anxious people. If your belief is I don't like having confrontation, I don't like conflict, I don't like bringing up things because it'll make him uncomfortable, that's emotional immaturity, and that's a skill. Emotional intelligence is a skill that people have to learn in relationships to maintain very intimacy even once you're married. It's one thing that once you're in the relationship, but in the conflict phase, each fight should make you grow closer, not
Mhm.
more apart.
And that's exactly what's happening now. We're at gonna be at 8 months soon.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm ready
Um,
to marry you. And you're like, hold on to your horses.
oh,
Not yet. We're going to see this whole year through. My coach said, wait up. We have an entire life. See the whole
yes.
season. Because in the
Yes.
season, then if you make it through that place, when you're in that healthy, secure place, it lasts because now you've learned the skill. You need these skills in the very beginning. Otherwise, and sometimes some of you that may be watching, they're like, oh, I've been married for such a long time. That's okay. You still need skills. You still
You
need to
do.
heal all these wounding. You
We have our
still need to
disagreements. Yeah.
100%.
We do. There's times where I get triggered back into my old self, and I'll text him and be like, you know, whatever, I'm overthinking and this and that, like why you want to be with me, this and that and this. He's like, dude, stop. Like,
Good.
stop. You're
Yeah.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
I see that reflection back to me, and then it
Yeah.
clicks me out right away. So I know that
Right.
I'm with someone that's secure. Because
100%.
he doesn't just run.
Right.
We communicate very healthy together.
That's what
So
I wanted for you, girlfriend. No, because I think one of the things that you said early is a very important. It's like be with someone who makes your nervous system feel safe and
feel
calm. They
safe.
feel boring at first, but it's very important that your values are aligned. Like your financial values are in alignment. Your parenting values are in alignment. And for that, you have to know you first, right? You have to know who you are. So that is a whole bunch of work that we did in the beginning in the program where if you don't know who you are, what your values are, you'll just settle for anyone. You'll settle for the red flags. You will just settle. And settling leads to then relationships digressing later. So it's really important that we figure out our values when we're finding love. And secondly, if we're not just settling for anybody that is less than what is on our list. Like Amit was literally 23 things out of the 25 things that I wanted in a guy. 2 things, okay, no worries. But at some point, my values had to be aligned so that we didn't keep constantly fighting off. I want to travel the world, and he's like, I don't. I just sit at home and watch TV, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. And that's what I kept being attracted to. Value. I didn't know myself, so I didn't know my values, and I didn't know, oh, what is not okay. What I didn't. I learned that the hard way, and I didn't want to keep doing that. So as I was even teaching couples, it was very important that I'm like, your values have to be on point.
I think the biggest thing I learned with you was that we tend to give the physical qualities
Yeah.
of a
Oh,
partner more
100%.
importance
100%.
than the values, right?
Oh,
Oh, how he
butterflies.
looks.
Oh, sparks. Oh, passion. All of that is hypervigilance and run.
It is
Heal
okay if you
yourself.
want what you want physically,
100%.
appearance
Yeah.
wise, but it's not everything. Because I think the biggest thing that stuck with me with you was you said the physical can always be changed, right?
100%.
You can always work together and you can always get active. You can change yourselves at any time, but your values and who you are will never change
Because
unless
most
you want
women
to.
come to me saying, my husband is not emotionally intelligent. How is Amit is like this? And I'm like, Amit is not always like this. Amit was very raw and rough around the edges when I met him. And we grew
Yeah,
together because one of our values were we inspire each other to be better with each other. But
that's it.
if I didn't see that in the relationship, in the dating, I would have been like, bye,
And that's what I'm
and
looking
the
for now.
basic
Yeah.
physical attraction was there.
Hmm.
And I needed, if you were ambitious, if you were into self-growth, if you were into personal development, like most people, well, most women come to me and say, oh, but your husband is emotionally intelligent. No, I manifested him into being emotionally intelligent and taught
You
him
did
some
the
skills.
work.
I did the work because I truly lived in the feminine embodiment of the leadership that I lead this relationship with. And I'm okay with that. And as women, if we can create children, we can create the relationship that we desire, but that requires skills. We have to know and expect that and show up as that. Most people think, oh, Amit is like this. No, Amit sits when I say, hey, we're going to do a date night. Hey, we're going to start this new thing that we're going to start doing together. And he's
And
very
I've seen that.
open.
I've seen that growth too. So
Yeah.
it's been yeah, I agree. You
Yeah.
have to take charge of what you want, I think, and that's like they said, that's the biggest thing I learned from you. So
Yeah.
now I look for the values and are we aligning on this? Are we aligning on that? Instead of,
Yes.
oh, I don't like the way your hair looks, or I don't like this. I don't next. No,
Because
No.
again, you saying next, 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 you're taking you with you. This the same thing will come up again if the values are not aligned. Or, you know,
Exactly.
and one of the biggest things for those of you watching that really changed in Himani's world was also we fixed the wounding that happened in parents in relationship to parents, and same with me. Like, we really did a lot of inner child work. Like, the complaints that you have with your parents are the complaints because they're the source, right? They're the
They're the
source
source.
of all the things, and whether we like it or not. And if we don't heal and clean up and clear some of that data and forgive ourselves for those experiences, we're going to keep taking that into one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next. So we did a lot of inner child healing and forgiveness and deep work in order for her to be in a secure place, and then, you know, attract a man who made the nervous system feel safe almost boring.
Yeah. There was a lot of releasing. A lot of EMDR.
Yes.
A lot of tears. But
But
here we
yeah,
are.
yeah, exactly. What you wanted. And I wanted the guy to treasure you, but you to treasure you first. You know, if you
The
self-betray, if
commitment
you
to self first.
self-abandon, then how can they not? That's what our partners reflect to us, what we are doing within. You can't expect out of others that you don't have within. Like, I want a partner who does this, this, and this. A lot of times we're attracted to people because we're attracted to their strong suits and wish that we had it. So then it's our job to do the inner work and become that person. So we attract that, as opposed to keep wanting it on the outside, because it'll never be enough. It'll always be met with rejection. It'll always be met with judgment. It'll always be met with, I'm out, bye.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's a
tell me, what
commitment to self first.
what does that
That's
look like for you even while you are in the relationship?
commitment to self
Yeah.
right now. I'm still doing my meditations, my gratefulness. I'm putting myself, my time first. Even now, it's, okay, hey, we're scheduled for a call at this time. Well, let's talk at this time, but I have this at this time, and I stick to it. Um, there's no more putting myself on the back burner. Let's say
Yeah.
that. Um, my needs, they come first for me. My child's needs come first for me. So I think that's where it's changed, and he's okay with that, honestly. And I
Of
never,
course, that's how it should
and
be. If
that's
you
what it
respect
is.
your needs,
Before,
they respect,
yes.
we attract people who respect our needs.
And before it was very, oh my God, if I state my needs, or is he gonna run because I don't have enough time for him, or is he gonna think otherwise, right? And now I'm okay. I have a voice, and I'm okay with voicing what I need to say and what I need to do
Yes.
without
Oh,
fearing that he's gonna run. And if he does, oh well,
same.
next.
Same. Because the right people, even Amit, like, I get to be 100% me. He gets to be 100% him. We accept each other exactly the way. In relationships, one of the things, write this down. One of my mentors taught me this, that your acceptance list has to be much bigger than your expectations list. The things, because there will always be something in the secure acceptance phase. That is what it is about, that you accept them exactly the way they are. I mean, there were things in our relationship that were very challenging. So if you're watching all the way up till here, so I really invite you to hit that subscribe and notification button, because I really am going to teach you some of these skills to change how you can change your beliefs or identify your beliefs in relationships. And also how I changed my resentment, bitterness, all the things that I was feeling, and control, and wanting him to change. And when I accepted him and then nudged him from a place of influence, as opposed to, you need to change this about you, you need to change this. So stay tuned for that episode. I'm definitely going to talk about that in terms of how to keep a secure relationship, or how to get through the conflict phase of your marriage or a relationship, because that is also where I find that most people get stuck and just don't have the skills or the tools. So I want to be able to give you that. But so what would be your last words, be, Himani, for all of the people that are looking to attract love? Healthy love. Huge
Love
difference.
yourself first. Love and accept yourself. The three phases I learned. I love
Yeah.
myself as I am. I accept the love around me.
Yeah.
And honestly, those phrases have changed my life. 'Whenever I'm doubting myself, I look at myself, I love myself as I am. And I accept the love around me. And honestly, those phrases have changed my life. Whenever I'm doubting myself, I look at myself, I love myself as I am. I love myself as I am.
Yes.
tap it
Yes.
out.
Tap it out. Tap into your
Tap it-
greatness. Keep
tap
tapping
it
into your
out.
greatness.
Do the work. Do the work on yourself because you'll never regret it.
Yeah.
You'll never regret it.
And I really liked what you said earlier, that when we miss out on our mental and spiritual hygiene, the work that we keep awaiting is where the magic is. The like, even in my relationship now, like one of my affirmations is my relationship, like my marriage keeps getting better and more intimate and more connected and more healthy with each day passes by. I say that to myself. It's not just an affirmation. I just keep saying that to myself and feel that gratitude that I'm in that kind of relationship, and I'm only making it better with time. Because again, most people don't realize, they're like, oh, we found the person. Relationships require work. You
They
can't just
do.
be like, we found the person.
Yeah.
Just like we go to work and we get paid. Same things. Relationship require work, everyday attention, everyday appreciation, every day working on yourself and then showing up. By no means it is perfect, but it always is leaning towards more security and more secure attached self, and thus
Yes.
more secure attached partner. And then you model that to your children, because when we don't do the work, we're just are in toxicity, we're displaying toxicity, we're attracting more toxicity, and we're modeling more toxicity.
Cut the generational trauma stops here.
100%.
What because I have a daughter, that was my biggest thing in healing myself, was
Same.
that I do not want her to go through what I'm going through right now. So that was
Same
my
thing.
commitment to myself.
Same thing with my son. I was
So
like,
find
because
what
he's also
drives
7.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
like, because there'll be girls out there like Naya who are going to be emotionally intelligent, and I need boys out there like Avik who are emotionally intelligent and show up being modeled these skills, because these are
Yep.
skills. It's one thing to attract a good looking guy, but then if he's emotionally unavailable and you're always seeking attention, you're always going to be seeking in the relationship, and that is not healthy.
Nope.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. Please subscribe. Please let us know what is one thing that really, really, really resonated with you. What is it that you learned? What are you walking away from? I really, really love hearing from you. And I'm so grateful to you, Himani, for your time.
Thank you. I'm grateful for
I
you.
love having you in my Limitless Abundance life coaching program, and we're going places this year.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Literally, physically, and just places, because my mission in life is literally to teach people how to live limitlessly. No amount of money can make you happy. No amount of relationship can make you happy. Happiness is an inside job. And I want you to find that within you and set easy rules and conditions to do so. When you do so, you attract more of it in your life. Life is not about toxic positivity or happiness all the time. But if that is what is your pattern, that is what is in your cup, joy, satisfaction, gratitude, then that is what spills out when you're faced with people, situations, crises, and opportunities. So that is what I want from you. Thank you so much for tuning in to our very first awesome episode. And there will be more. So be sure to, if this resonated, share it with your friends, make some comments, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so we can continue to show up with more content that helps you, that serves you, and that makes a difference in your life, because that is my intention for this podcast, that this transcends your life, transforms your life in some way, and adds so much value to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
And
Thank
remember,
you, Himani.
Stop cleaning, start clearing.
Yeah. All my angels and my people just always are cleaning, obsessed with cleaning. I'm like, clean the inside, not the outside. One of my clients actually said that, and I was like, wow, yes, that's it. Stop cleaning, start clearing. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to